See if this works. Okay. Welcome everybody. My name is Gerry Tye. I'm the founder of DIP Research and its associated groups, and I'm based in Sydney, Australia. I'm talking to Marcel Ortigao, which I probably got his name wrong, which I apologize for. And we're talking about today um, the effects of the new Trump administration on the clinical trials and the National Institute of Health. Marcelo, could you like to introduce yourself, please?
It's a pleasure. Thank you for organizing this discussion, Gerry. Um, uh, my background, I'm a former professor of emerging infectious diseases and preventive medicine. I've been a scientist and professor for 35 years. I worked in various areas of research. I had a fully well-funded laboratory with scientists from all over the world, and I retired from my position to focus on DIPG issues. Most importantly, I am a DIPG parent and father of Juliana, who passed away nearly 6 years ago on on March 3rd, 2019. And I've been involved in DIPG issues ever since.
It's amazing. Yeah, Juliana is an amazing young woman and a terrible loss. Similarly, I'm also a DIPG parent, and I lost my son Talon, who was 5 years old, just turning six in 2012, in 3 weeks to DIPG. And I've been in the area, working in the area since. Anyway, so DIP Research is our medical research group that's worldwide, and we have about 4,500 people within that group. And we would like to understand how the new Trump administration is actually affecting clinical trials and the National Institute of Health.
So I think this discussion is critical because it was newly announced that the administration was imposing a wide range of restrictions on NIH, particularly related to the cancellation of the study sections, or basically the peer review of incoming or submitted research proposals in all areas of research. This pause was implemented NIH wide, meaning that the 27 institutes that form NIH, 24 of them are actually grant funding institutes. So all of the assessment of the submitted applications in response to research for proposal, which is our RFPs, they're put out in advance, and the scientists then will write the proposal for research. It will submit, and that will then be submitted to peer review, all in the form of a panel. All these panels have been canceled, as well as all of the travels for meetings or any fund associated with investigator or scientist travel. These are all being suspended. So this is not novel. These kinds of cancellations have happened in the past. When the new administration comes in, typically a new NIH director will be appointed. That NIH director then it obviously goes that appointment goes through the U.S. Congress. It is approved or not approved, but generally speaking, it is approved. So was the NIH director was appointed by Donald Trump and was approved by Congress, and he is or has already taken office as the director of NIH, and immediately apparently suspended all the meetings, including the grant review meetings and so forth. And we'll just, as we go along with this quick discussion, I can explain the details of how grant reviews work, and we go from there. But the main problem is that when you stop a grant review, when you stop the grant review to take place, funding that investigators who submitted their proposal, they're expecting to potentially, when approved, expecting to get, that is all pushed back. And obviously, I'm hoping that and likely this pause will not go beyond the next few days. So hopefully by sometime next week, everything should be in place without causing any delays in the funding of individuals who submitted application. If that were to happen, then obviously there will be delays in the laboratory implementing new research or continue research based upon the kind of mechanism or funding type that a laboratory may have submitted to NIH, for example. Does that make
So,
sense, Gerry?
yes, it makes sense. So effectively, it doesn't affect current clinical trials that have been previously funded. Those still continue.
Right.
So current clinical trials are fine because they've already got funding, they're already in progress, they already have their investigator system set up. So what's affecting is new clinical trials and investigations and grants that are coming into the system. So anything that's new, and that can
Correct.
create delays in setting up those grants. Those fundings can be evaporated. So it's creates quite a bit of uncertainty within the scientific community.
Right. And there's no discussion. And in the article that you posted in our group, the article that was published in Science magazine, one of the
Mhm,
most prestigious scientific magazines in the world, or scientific journals in the world, detailing some of the difference. There was no mention of, for example, clinical trials within NIH, and as you clearly indicated, everything that has been done will continue to be done. The U.S. administration has, in terms of funding, has something that is referred to as encumbered. People will be familiar with that term. And when the federal government works with funding, money that has been encumbered is typically sort of a reserved for that particular application. So that means that applications that were already approved, the money has been set aside or encumbered for that particular application, that money is available. And as you clearly stated, any future funding, which would potentially be coming once we have the review panels that will approve, a different number of research applications that request money for their research or for their eventually, depending on the mechanism, the clinical trials, that potentially could be delayed depending on how long this pause will be in place.
Okay, yeah. So effectively, with new administrations coming in, how long would that pause be?
I used to be at NIH, and that was 20 plus years ago. I was a visiting fellow within NIH, within the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and these pauses, and I've gone through pauses even as a reviewer. Um, those pauses lasted between 3 and 5 days, no more than that. That potentially gives time to the incoming administrators, the new directors with his team and so forth, to uh, become acquainted with where the lines of research are, lines of research are, and obviously, he will have his own agenda. He can suggest or implement changes, and that will be discussed with the individual directors of each institute. So likely he's sitting down with all of the 27 directors, either as a group or individually, to learn more about each institute, to learn about the investments that are done. Obviously not him alone, but his team. Investments that, where's the money going, who has been funded, and so on and so forth, and what lines of research are being funded by how much. Can we increase here? Can we decrease there? So he'll be able to put his thumb on the on the scale there to change some of the investment strategies, and hopefully that will not be taking too long.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully that won't. Because I think from what the article says that the National Institute of Health has like got a 47 plus billion-dollar budget that it actually works with. So it's a significant amount of money per year. And I suppose like anything else, they want their biggest bang for the buck, in regards to public health and research is concerned. Um, Hopefully in the future, we can talk about DIPG funding and where that actually comes from and who's actually funding it well, and perhaps the research that is up and coming that should be funded, at least in our opinion anyway, to better, the plight of our DIPG children and their families.
And one thing that I actually indicated uh, in our community forum, even though I obviously we don't know how long this pause will last, what can we do practically? At this point, voice our frustration, because obviously as a DIPG parent, we know that we have a race against the clock.
Mm,
Every minute, every day, every minute or every hour of every day counts. And the best things, one of the best things to do is, to me, in my mind, is to reach out to your congressional representative and voice your frustration with that delay, regardless of your party affiliation, if any. This is a race that we're all in together. This is an issue that is dear to all of us. And our representatives are the ones that clearly can potentially have an impact or interfere with the process. And so my suggestion and my recommendation is that if you can, reach out to your representative, voice your frustration with the potential of the delay. I'm not saying there will be a delay, but there's a potential for the delay, depending again on how long the pause will last. And the other option is to also call NIH, call the director of institute, and suggest that, if there's a delay in processing applications, if there's a delay in evaluating applications, research applications by the review panels, there's a potential for the delay in the disbursement of the funds. Therefore, a delay in the establishment of that particular line of research. So if those things do come to fruition, that is clearly something that could impact our children. So this is what
absolutely.
I would suggest.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea to actually contact your congressman or your political contact and also the NIH, but also to encourage them to actually, you know, do the preclinical trials, the clinical bench work that's actually been done before it actually comes to trial, to actually fund the early research. Because without the early research, we don't actually have anything to go into a clinical trial. So be a phase 1 or earlier, they need to be funded as well. The new innovation is what really affects people, and it's what we actually are hoping for is innovation within DIPG because it's such a complicated disease process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Basic research is critical in everything we're doing. And basic research has led to the CAR T approaches that have been one of the most successful tools that we've seen in recent years against the IPG, in combination with a handful of drugs that have become available to us parents.
Absolutely. So as you know, the drugs, the medical procedures, the clinical trial locations, they all need to be funded, and you know, scientists and clinicians and the medical community need to be paid because, they have families too. Otherwise, we're going to lose that expertise to other areas. They'll go and do something more lucrative like breast cancer or heart disease or something. We're very lucky that we have clinicians that actually choose to work in DIPG and DMG because it is a smaller area, but it's actually quite an intricate area.
Yes, and we need to learn the intricacies of how the brain works and how the linkages between the cells occur,
Mhm.
and we need to learn more about the microbiome of these
Yeah,
tumors. Um, and this is in our own individual response or immune response to not only to the microbiome but alterations of the microbiome and alterations of these tumor cells, what these tumor cells are causing to the microbiome, and this is what is going to lead to the next generation of potential effective therapies against the DIPG.
absolutely. So we need that foundational science to actually get things done. So, in summing up, we would like to allay your fears, whoever's watching this, that your current clinical trials will continue because they're already funded. It's the new trials and investigations that are coming in that are in pause at the moment. It's good for you to actually contact your congressman, political contact, and the National Institute of Health in order to actually encourage them to maintain funding or increase it, hopefully, in the areas of DMG and DIPG, um, and to actually make sure that your voice is actually heard. Would you like to add anything more to that one, Marcelo?
This is what our community does, and this is the value that having a community that shares the value, shares the pain, and shares the gratitude um, that we've had with the children that we had and the children that we lost. This is the value of this community, and and the community is open to questions and suggestions and debate. And you know, I can bring a little bit of my own experience to that. I don't have all the answers. I have potentially more questions like you do. But if you do have questions and I am able to provide, we're able to provide some kind of answer, please feel free to submit your questions. Um, and as always, Gerry will moderate the discussions, but it's critical for us to maintain that open mind and to maintain an open heart to the things that we're bringing to to the forum.
Thank you. We've been through so much in the DIPG community, and we do have resilience. We will get through this, and we will do the best that we can in order to maintain our clinical trials and also the funding that we need for um, our up and coming scientists and investigators. So thank you for today, and please, um, if people would like to send in their questions, we might do another video and answer those along the way. So thank you very much, Marcelo, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gerry.